So, working more on my X to the X. Got a couple things going. Kind of like this. Oh, spaceman. Stars. Stars aren't just about astronomy or astrology, but like cosmology. And cosmology is a little bit different because it has to do with the order of things. And so sometimes I think of like either the universe or the atom. Like we see all these geometrical pictures of what the universe looks like or what atoms look like, and it's always very like hexagonal, platonic solids, um, or if we're looking at images of mathematical objects, we're often looking at functional graphs. But like within pure geometry, pure geometry, which is not pure geometry imagery of the cosmos is not functional imagery. They speak to each other. They're transforms of each other, but they're not the same thing. So like what if inside an atom or inside the cosmos there's a structure like this? And especially when we don't even know how the cosmos is structured, so we don't really know how the atom is structured, and there's all these problems between like quantum and classical mechanics, and there's all these problems like in astronomy and so on, and there's all these problems between, quantum theory, relativity theory, classical physics, and I don't know about these things. I just know about them topically. But that's part of what's happening right now in the world is like this revolution of ideas. Like the unified theory is going to come from regular people. Like and everybody's a regular person, but like the whole point of all, I shouldn't say the whole point, but like the point of all the secret societies and like clashes of governments or whatever, and clashes through history, like fighting for predominance, like truth prevails, period. And truth moves almost like a traitor. Like the truth moves where it needs to so that it prevails, because untruth cannot prevail. It can, in a sense, predominate as a subcategory of truth. There's two ways. There's always truth, and lies are always connected to it. But some lies are the future. Some lies are like, this is the truth now, and it's moving in this direction. And this will be the truth later. But then the greater truth has to also encompass the past truth. So like, if a truth grows like this circle has more truth, but it has more lie associated with it. This bubble will burst. But the truth could also grow differently, so that there's more truth and less lie. And that would be the better truth. That is a really crude metaphor, but I think it makes I mean, it's about as simple as a point as you could make. So, I've been working more on this. I got my, and this is out of order, my X to the X out of order. So this is what I'm working on today, gluing up these edges, using my power grip, but a little squeezed out. Use my toothpick, squeegeeing up the sizes before I box these shapes in all the way, just so that as time goes on with temperature and so on, temperature and humidity, these sides will stay together. I wasn't going to do it, but I thought, well, it ain't going to hurt nothing, and mostly I just sit around doing nothing, so, well, thinking, but I can think while I put a toothpick with glue to paper, no problem. So that's what I've been working on. Thinking about bees, yellow and black. I bought a bottle of mead today, symbolically. I guess sometimes symbolism is an excuse, and it was today, but it is also symbolic. I don't know about Slovakian stuff, and I don't know about Medavina, but you know, I know Vina. It's a little bit to do with wine, and you know, mead with Medavina in it seems all right. This is made from linden honey. I pondered at the store for quite a while if I wanted linden or flower honey. I don't know why that's significant, but everything is significant. This is a hard lesson on learning, and it is an excruciating lesson. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was my idea for opposite poker. What did I come up with for a name? Oh, I didn't want you poker. That just wasn't proper. Opposite poker. Opposite poker. You Posidiker. You Posidiker. You Posidiker. So the whole idea with opposite poker, and while we're talking about opposites, you know, I go by Wentz Red on my channel. So a sideways 3 is a W. This way it's a B. This way it's an E. This way it's an M. And with 5 you can get a 2, and with 2 you can get an R. So that's why I have this, Wentz Red, WR. Except there's no way to flip the 5. You have to flip it like this. And maybe it ought to be black, and maybe it, you know, spades kind of opposite to hearts, so maybe I should have it be a club. Never mind 7 of clubs, 7 of spades. That's a different story. But these are the ones I had. And but my idea with opposite poker was like, what if, alright, so this is already longer than I wanted it to be. Good time to mention while I'm fuddling. I accidentally made FEDC appear in this image. B, okay, right? FEDC. B is slightly above the line. A crosses the line. And then I think every other letter that I wrote, which was just a way to label these sides when I made it, fell along the cross line. That was an accident, though in another video I have before I made this image, which I'll post later, out of order. Well, anyway, it shows that, and There's a million different ways where letters in the alphabet, forwards or backwards, have come about in my life. And why did I say I need to video this? Well, my next, I think, video will answer that. And it's the whole idea of like prophesizing, and like sometimes when people prophesize on you, it's like, ugh, and it feels so horrible because you're like, people are reading my mind. What the fuck's going on? And then when we realize that we prophesize on ourselves, that's it's a hard lesson to learn. It ain't cool. The whole idea of like superpowers or birthrights, we think we want them, and I guess we do, and more than wanting them, we should want to be able to handle them. Like, I don't want to be a king, but I want to be worthy of kingship, which is, in one sense, a very preposterous and bold desire, but in another sense, is very humble. Like, I don't want to be a king, but I want to be kingly. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean having the power of people bowing to you. It means having the power of control of oneself such that others find worth in you that is congruent with the worth you find in yourself. And when I say you, I mean I. And who am I talking to right now? Myself. Why? Because I am very unkingly. But my desire is strong. To be worthy. To be worthy of what? Of those below me, of those above me, of those beside me. Also, this says fed seed. It says feed. It says feed. DC. Anyway, yeah, I stopped fumbling. If I dealt myself 5 cards... Oh, these don't mean nothing. Okay, so that's... Oh, no, these don't mean nothing. Alright. Okay, so now I'm going to have different colors, but whatever. So, I have these 5 cards, and normally if you're playing poker, it's like you got your cards, you're playing your game, and they're your cards. But like, what if you held the other person's cards? Like, you're holding these cards, but they're the other person's cards, and the other person is holding your cards, and you don't know what your cards are. So then, like, you would just point to, if you wanted to, like, take different cards, you know, like, I'll take 2, I'll take 3, whatever the is, but you don't know what your cards are. So, like, you just have to guess. Now, obviously, prophets could play this game and it would screw everything up, but prophets play poker anyway. And they do it for their own reasons. Which comes to the question of, what would a chess game look like between a prophet and a cleric or a telepath? A telepath and a prophet sit down to play a deathmatch game of chess. What happens? They sit there and they both die. That's one answer. What's your answer? So, you pick a couple, whatever. They pick a couple, whatever. But anyway, then you're left with this hand. Right? So I'm left with this hand. But it's your hand. And now I don't know what my hand is, but I know what your hand is. And I bet, not knowing what my hand is, knowing what your hand is. So instead of betting on a good hand, you're betting against a bad hand. But you don't know what you have, but you know what they have. And in some sense, it's like, how could you do that? It seems so counterintuitive that you could play this game. But on the other hand, it's the exact same game. It's the exact same game. And that's just fascinating to me, because it's the whole like right hand, left hand thing, or like upside down, right side up, backwards, negative image thing. It's like, it's the exact same game. Like, it's the exact same game. I'm betting against the hand that I know instead of betting for the hand that I know. Exact same game, yet it causes a cognitive glitch. But the cognitive glitch is not a cosmological glitch. The cognitive glitch is a glitch in the cognition that is opposite to cosmology. Our cognition is opposite cosmology. And when I say our, I mean anyone like me. And for all I know, I'm the only one like me. For all I know, the entire world is God, and I am God's dummy. I feel that way most days lately. Lately being the last several years, if not forever. But anyway, it would be an interesting game, and for poker players especially, it seems as though it would actually advance their thought process, because it would scramble connections that are wrong, and it would strengthen connections that are right, and it would speak to the intuitive process, and it would give insight to the game, because it's the same thing. Betting against the hand you have versus betting for the hand you have, because you have your opponent's hand and they have your hand, and you don't know what hand yours is that they have, and they don't know what hand yours is. The only difference in the game would be the draw. So there might have to be some kind of correction in the game process to make that more equivalent. I don't know how that would happen, unless it was just a flat out game of poker with no draws. Be an interesting game. People should play it.